The art consultant was telling me about this big project in the future. He finally told me what it was. It was a wagon train a block long, and I laughed. I thought, that's not going to happen.
I used the cityscape as a metaphor for wilderness. And so I used the city as a canvas for my work, 4-city block. So first of all, of course, it's a tremendous privilege for an artist to be given part of a city as a canvas to work with.
You really have to set aside the rest of your life and really totally dedicate yourself to it. Now this will be, by the time the project is finished, probably 10 years of my life.
For more than a decade, 3 world-renowned sculptors and one of America's foremost landscape architects have been creating what is now one of the world's largest installations of heroic-scale bronze sculptures. 120 pieces, all 1 1/4 life-sized, stretching over and through 5 city blocks in downtown Omaha, Nebraska. They portray the interaction between a pioneer wagon train and the magnificent wildlife of the Great Plains on a typical spring day in 1841. Each of the wagon's families, their livestock and equipment, represents a different type of pioneer, from well-to-do to go for broke, in what became for all the most arduous journey in American history.
The jumping-off point of the American pioneer, integrated with the phenomena of the American wilderness, and the fact that these 3 artists came together and worked together with landscape architects and with bank presidents and came up with this magnificent story is, I think, without match anywhere in the history of American art.
Almost 18,500 cubic yards of dirt. 258 large pieces of stone. 18,500 square feet of pavers.
There's the wagons coming into the valley where the buffalo are grazing and scare the buffalo, and they take off running, and they round the corner and scare the flock of Canadian geese in a pond or a lake, and they burst out of the water.
It's an enormous scale. 58 geese, larger than life, 8-foot wingspan, 9 bison.
It's unbelievable what we've done in the amount of time we've done it in.
It's totally daunting when it's never been done before.
The vision was a combination of carefully designed sculpture and the flexibility of letting something run with the process of designing it. So, starting with a small park on a quarter-city block and arriving at a fairly tightly designed European-style park with a plinth that has a fountain and water. From the tight design in that park to the bigger second park that had a great deal more space, this allowed more freedom for the landscape architect and the artists on what was a flat piece of land. Once it had been cleaned up, the design process with the landscape architect evolved into a decision to create a thematic dry riverbed with rocks cropping out. Then, the artists were able to imagine a wagon train heading west. A hunter would come in from the side. All of that led to buffalo stampeding down the sidewalk of the connecting block. In essence, tying together these two parks that are actually 3 blocks apart.